This is my neighbor Dustin. This is my neighbor Marty. This was my neighbor Tom. This is a Vietnamese shopkeeper in Prague. This is a young lady from Ukraine. This is my son. This is a young man from Russia. This is a rabbit in Los Angeles. This is a dog in Prague. Under the Hood is a community project that uses photography to document the people who live and work around cultural hubs, such as galleries, museums, and libraries. The places become the location for the show, and the subjects are invited to take their pictures home with them. So far, I've done this project in Ridgewood, New Jersey, Los Angeles, Prague, and New York City. The Under the Hood project started simply as a photography show for my neighborhood. I spent around a month taking about 150 black and white photos of my neighbors. When I got all the photos developed, I realized there were too many to frame, or even to show on the walls of my house. So I clipped them to 3 clotheslines in my backyard and on our fence. The clotheslines have become a preferred way to show the pictures, because it is easy to assemble and easy for the subjects to take the pictures down. So when I had the show for my neighbors, it really turned into something special, like a happening, and people stayed for hours. It was a hit. A couple months later, I had planned to do a drawing show at a friend's gallery in Los Angeles, but they shut it down so they could rent the space to tenants. We still wanted to do the show, so I suggested doing the Under the Hood project in their neighborhood, in the Silver Lake Echo Park region of Los Angeles. The difference with this show is that we plan to take the pictures and show them in the same day. So my friend and I went out in the morning, and I took around 200 pictures. I developed them at a Walgreens nearby, and we had the show toward the end of the day. That was really great. People were really appreciative, and everyone snatched up their pictures. The challenge with that shoot was that I had my 2-year-old son on my back the whole time. He's really active, and was always trying to climb out of the backpack during the shoot. Since I used film with an old camera, I only set up for 1 or 2 shots, and I spent about 30 seconds making sure everything is perfect. With Miles on my back, I had to wait for him to be still, so each picture took longer. This sounds annoying, but it actually helps. It makes the subject calmer, and by the time I take the picture, they have a very relaxed expression that I would not get with a more immediate process. I have also done the Under the Hood show in Prague as part of a group show I was in called Freak Show 2. The first Freak Show was a year earlier. It was in a village in the Šumava region of Czech Republic, in a town called Horažďovice. For that show, I just brought over my homeless self-portrait sculpture from the United States. But for Freak Show 2, the curator and I agreed on my doing the Under the Hood project. The day before the show, I went by the gallery early in the morning, and I took pictures of people going to work, workers on the street, shopkeepers, and students. That was a really tough shoot. Only 1 or 2 out of every 10 said okay. In the end, I really liked the pictures. Not many of the subjects, however, showed up, and a lot of the people were scratching their heads over the project. The last time I did the show was in New York City. This was really great because I had already worked in the neighborhood for more than a decade, but taking pictures got me to know the area much better. For example, I'd always wanted to go inside the West Beth Apartments, which is a housing unit for artists. I met an older abstract painter who took me to her studio and apartment, and there I got one of my favorite pictures, which is of her leaning out over the fire escape with her arms on the windowsill. This New York show was a little different. I spent a month taking the pictures during my lunch breaks, and it was also up for 2 months in the Hudson branch of the New York Public Library. It looked cool because I had the clotheslines run around and crisscross the room. My favorite picture from my New Jersey shoot was of a kid in my neighborhood called Garrett. He was riding his bike down the street and he was way ahead of the other kids behind him. This was 5 years ago, so now Garrett is a young man. I framed this picture and I gave it to the parents, and they have it above their mantle in their family room. The picture I really liked from the Los Angeles shoot was of my friend and her neighbor, who has recently passed away. The neighbor here is more than 100 years old, and my friend was so good to her. She was her neighbor and she helped her with so many things. And the lady didn't trust me. She was a little bit confused by what we were going to do, but she totally trusted my friend. And you can see it in this picture. She's holding her hand. One of my favorite pictures from Prague it was not one of the best pictures quality-wise. It's of a man and his dog, and I like it because when I was having a tough time just stopping people to get their pictures, when I asked him, he was very honored, and he stood up straight and he made sure his dog was behaving. And one of my favorite pictures from New York is of my friend Michael, who works in the same building I work in, and here he is with a young lady named Janice who works on the same floor as he does. And I love this picture because she's so statuesque, and he's got this comic look at her. So when I first did this show, I thought I was only going to do it once, but it's kind of grown, and I really like it, and I think it's something which, when I look back at it, is something I'm really glad I took all the pictures, and it's a nice time capsule.